Live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, this is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the afternoon swing trading floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food reminding you to live life, and trade it. Oh man, some heavy hitters are here right now. Xochitl Victor, Tony Robert, Raj, Mr. OJ Rodriguez, Mark, how's it going? Mike Ramsey, Mixer Kirkland, John D, December, Dan, Bob, Bill, Alex, and Albert. Bob says, good afternoon, Mr. Newsom. Hey, bud. Thank you for being here as usual. Let's talk through it, team. Today is Energy Wednesday. Not a whole lot to discuss on the broader markets realistically. A super quick news story came out that, we still don't have any deal with China. And then we got a little bit of a sell-off, but that's always been the case. Realistically, this is a beautiful pullback. And I will say this straight up. If we bounce out of here strongly starting tomorrow or the next day, I mean, there's no reason and no doubt in my mind that we won't just continue higher. Something just to think through. Nice little volume spike. I obviously would love a bigger pullback on the broader markets. I think the SPY should come all the way back down to 294 at some point. Don't know if. I think it might be more of a win, but presently on the SPY, I'm just going to be waiting, watching, giving it some time, and yeah, we'll see what happens more tomorrow on the SPY. Nice little dip, gorgeous trend. And you can see it really well on the Qs. A lot of volume came in on the Qs today. Realistically, just retesting this retest gap. So now that gap has been filled on the Qs. Tons of volume, big bearish candle. And if we get something like this, then I would expect the markets to just continue doing what they've been doing. IWM is flat as a pancake. And then the Dow Jones ETF, again, had a little bit of a pullback today into the 10 EMA. So don't think that we have to go lower. We don't. We could just get 2 days of a pullback, and that's it. Back off to the races we go. Everything is good, and we're just rallying and making magic, making dreams come true, and all is good. But of course, if we do start pulling back, I want that to happen. We are at all-time highs. We do have retest gaps that need to be filled, and I'm all about a pullback. I would love a dip buying opportunity. I think that'd be great. So if you're selling puts on something, I would just more or less caution you to say, wait for a little bit more of a pullback before you really start selling a lot, and just take it slow, be wise, and trade your plans. All right, we're going to dive into some specific stocks because that's really the broader market, not much else to talk about. EVRG is the first on the list. And this is an energy stock. It is Energy Wednesday, so that makes sense. And pretty much what we have on this one is a really nice pullback. Pullback today, in fact. So this was earnings, and I would argue that today was really the first strong bullish candle that closed above the high. So if you're looking at playing Evergy, is that how you would pronounce that? Evergy? It probably looks something like this. Bullish above here, stop loss below there, and just let it slowly climb higher. High of today is 65.04, so 65.05 by 63.72. Something like that is what makes sense to me if I were playing this one bullish. And here's the weekly chart. The weekly chart looks nice. Good trend. Looks like a dividend-paying, blue-chip, brand-new IPO energy company. So, yeah, feel free to do your research on it. This is a perfect example of when a Head and Shoulders does not close below the neckline. It's not a Head and Shoulders. So, again, just as something to always remember, if a stock pulls back to a support, buy it at that support until it breaks that support. If it breaks the support, then you can be bearish. But otherwise, until it breaks support, it doesn't. Great bounce, gorgeous trend, nice little retracement. And yeah, I think we could see some higher moves on this particular stock. All right. Next on the list, another energy, VLO of Valero. And Valero, as you might remember, we were keeping an eye on a breakout. I wanted to see if it was going to go higher. It hasn't yet, obviously. And this is one of those gaps. When a stock gap's on dividends, but the gap is actually nice, those are always fun to kind of take a note of. This was the dividends gap, and you probably wouldn't have really done or thought anything about it until it was about 99.20, which means it was taking out all these candles. Now, note, I did not play Valero at all yesterday. But once it broke 99.20, that's when I would have liked to have gotten in. And you can see on the 5-minute chart, I mean, it just rampaged. So sold off the entire time. Here's the only retest, and here's the only short that you would have had, which obviously, I mean, that's a good dollar and some change. Could have definitely made money for a day trade perspective. That was really it. And then we just kind of continued this morning on Valero. So as far as a bullish swing trade, I think we can wait. Valero, going to give it some time. Let's see if we can get more of a pullback, a bigger dip buying opportunity, and no swing trade right now for me on VLO. Mike says, I reached my destination jogging sooner than expected. Let's go get 3 miles in. Take care. All right, my man. Enjoy, enjoy. Well done. What a run. 3 miles. That is fantastic. I got to start getting some miles back in on the road because I'll be signing up for a 100-mile run before too long. But before I do that, I probably should do a marathon. So, yeah, I need to start putting in some endurance races, getting that game locked and loaded. All right, so Valero Energy, nothing there, nothing interesting. BLDP, Ballard Power Systems, spectacular gap yesterday. Ridiculously good gap yesterday, even if it's just a one-day trade. The challenge is it sold off so fast. You could have maybe shorted here with a stop there and gotten an R, but that would have been about it on Ballard. It's one of those things when you don't have a super expensive stock that doesn't move very much, you just don't get the greatest of signals. Wow. Look at this thing. So monthly chart, I mean, you're above all moving averages on a monthly chart. Looks like Ballard's trying to come back to life. Weekly chart, it's starting to come back to life a little bit. And the daily chart, yeah, just a really, really nice pullback. I mean, the interesting thing is I am the one that put this one on the list because I was just kind of interested on what it would do. And I actually kind of like that inside candle. Let me give this one another day or two. I'll put it on the list for Friday. We'll come back to it, and we will see. So Friday, BLDP, and we'll see if that one can continue higher and just throw on the list as one to watch. So speaking of coming back from the dead, Plug Power. This is one that a few traders still have some shares in from way back when, around $5, $5 or $4 back in 2014. And it's trying, Ryan, to get back. This is the monthly time frame on Power, Plug Power. Now, the monthly charts close, I believe, next week. Let me confirm that. Yep, next Friday. So we got a week and a half left. The market opens on December 2nd. We got a lot of December to trade. And yeah, that'll be a good time. So Plug Power closing above that resistance on a monthly chart would be huge. Weekly chart, good volume, good trend. Daily chart, good volume, good trend. So yeah, I know that there are some traders who have, again, like I mentioned, a share or two of Plug. And if I am not mistaken, it is a stock that has options, believe it or not. So if you look at some options, there is some premium at $5 in January's expiration. So right now, trading at 348, you could get some money at 4.5 or $5 for January. If you want, if you've been in the position for a long time and just want to get that capital out and at least you didn't lose on the trade, you just had to hold through a ginormously massive crash, 5-year sideways move, and then a little bit of a pop. Yeah, $5, that could work for January, and at least you get some premium. If you get called away, it's a profit. But again, even 450 has a lot of premium. That's an entire dollar away from where we are now. So just something to consider on Plug. Next on the list is SPWR, SunPower. And SunPower ran up and it ran back down 13% today. SunPower getting crushed. It's pretty much the only way to put this one. You had earnings, it gapped up, immediately faded, and just kept on sliding. I'd have a struggle shorting it down here because we're already down like 50% in the last month and a half, and you got like 9 bearish candles in a row. So on SunPower, I'd have to say wait. Sure, at some point we could probably snag it bullish, but I don't think it'll be yet. So we'll put that on the list for next Wednesday. Well, actually, there won't be anything next Wednesday. We'll just glance at it on Tuesday before we go. Well, I'll have Blake glance at it on Tuesday. I will be in Washington, D.C., I think. Somewhere in that area, visiting Ashley's grandparents. I think we fly into D.C., but I think they live in Virginia. I don't exactly know where we'll be spending time. But bottom line, Blake will be doing the afternoon room on Tuesday. I'll be doing it on Monday. Lovely stuff. All right, this is a swing trade that we have, which is an energy stock, Enphase. And Enphase, I think after today is probably going to stop us out. I think it's going to. This was a pretty decent close. Now, granted, the 200 is right in front of our face. So if we get stopped out, so be it. It was a good try. I realized it was most likely going to be a trade that was going to take a long time to really work out anyway. And it still might not, right? We could just bounce around and chop around. But we did close below yesterday's candle, but we did close right on the 200 simple. So more or less, I'm expecting to get stopped out on Enphase. We're down about half an hour on this particular trade. Just based on the weekly chart, realistically, ever since we closed below the most voluminous bullish candle, when we did that back here on October 28th, just seems to me like we could slowly pull back and kind of chop around some more after such a massive run up. It actually makes sense for us to get back down, probably to exactly where our stop is before we start bouncing. So we'll see. If we get stopped out, all good. Sometimes you lose on swing trades, and we will play Enphase Energy accordingly. But for right now, nothing crazy on Enphase. Activision, this is what Mr. Squiggles drew actually back in mid-September. Believe it or not. I can't remember if I actually have that idea documented or not. Let me just pull it up just to see. But pretty much here's what we got. The reason I'm pulling it up, Activision, Dr. Falconian, a.k.a. Falco, bought back that put sale. So that put sale is gone. He bought to close it, and he has mentioned that he has 0 put sales across any of his accounts right now, which makes sense because the market is at all-time highs. All-time highs. Let me see. I'm going to send this to myself, do a little bit of back trading on this one. Okay. Yeah, so far it's not looking too far off. Yeah, not too bad. Okay. Not too bad. So yeah, Falco's out of the put sale. Based on this rotation, if you're looking at picking up some Activision, this is one where I like the price, I like the location, I like the candles. looks good to me. And I'm just thinking overall, Christmas coming up, it would make sense, right? It would make sense that we go a little bit higher, but we'll just have to wait and see. Give it some time. Be a little bit patient. Okay, Activision looking good. Buy the dip. Be bullish. And Falco's Albus put sale. Eventbrite actually does not look bad. So good old Eventbrite is slowly creeping higher. The position on Eventbrite, the 2Rs is 2281. So I don't know if we're going to get there precisely. We might. I mean, based on today's candle, I do actually like it. But what I was going to do is just kind of get out right about there, right back at that resistance. 22 even. 2202 is a good resistance. And I'm just going to put that to exit all. If we get there between now, and I will be exiting this trade before end of December. I will plan on exiting this trade. I said December for end of November. So that's just kind of my plan. More, it looks like a bill paying trade to me. I do have 200 shares of Eventbrite in a longer term account, and I am underwater on those. I think I only have like 50 under $20. The rest are over 20. So it's not looking super saucy. But long term, I think I'll be okay. This is just one I want to be an owner on rather than just a consumer. Pretty much it. All right. Targets on EB. Targets on EB swing trade. Sweet. So 2202. We'll see if we hit that in the next 2 or 3 days. And if we do, that could be cool. And I think I'll end up putting the stop over here. And again, I plan on exiting at the end of November. If November is looking like, so far, November is looking like just an average month. Nothing too wild or insane. But if we do come into the end of November and I'm doing great and it looks like I could or should hold this, then I will. And I think we could be absolutely okay on that. So, wow. All right. Amazing. So that's Eventbrite. Done and done. Next on the list is UNH. And UNH, United Health Group, just looks kind of toasty. I did attempt to fade on November 18th, and that did not work. Here's the weekly chart, and UNH, look at that double bottom. Boy, oh boy. UNH going bananas. Strong. Strong bounce. So my overall thought, I would just simply say probably buy the dip. I mean, if you're in bullish, if you're not in bullish, maybe stay bullish. So that is UNH. That's what I got. Next on the list, PCG. And PCG. Here is the daily time frame. So daily time frame is kind of chilling. A little bit of a bullish candle. Here's what I got. It's just sideways, guys. Look at this. Higher lows, lower highs. That's a very nice pennant pattern. Very nice pennant on PCG. So what we got is the weekly time frame. I mean, you made a new low, right? People were buying that low. We popped down. We got a little bit of a pop. Again, this doesn't look like a massive move right here, but it was. Nice looking move. Really good, like 100% gain almost. So pennant pattern could break in either direction. I don't have anything on it right now, and that's what I got. Next on the list is COTY. COTY, we're just going to keep watching for the next few days to see if it pops higher. The reason I'm being a little patient on it is because of the 100 simple on a weekly chart. So I'll put down the list for Blake for Tuesday of next week, and that'll be that. Nothing big, nothing special. Etsy, ETSY. I decided to wait on the put sale on Etsy, even though it would just be one contract. Really wouldn't be that much. I mean, 30 bucks is like, I'll make 30 bucks somewhere else. Don't mind owning shares of Etsy, but I think it's just going to slowly meander its way down there. Mostly because we've never tested that price before on Etsy. That resistance up here at 36, we've never really retested it. We've gotten close, but I think that's where Etsy wants to go. So if you got some shares of Etsy, I do like Etsy long term. I understand that we're coming to the holiday season. I think a lot of these earnings that Etsy has will be reflected in the next quarter and the quarter after that, those statements. And those statements will be good. But for now, we'll probably slowly do something like this on Etsy and eventually bounce. In fact, that's such a good drawing. I'm just going to draw that. I'm just going to trace it. All right. My thoughts on Etsy from here. Long term, the Bulls probably win out on Etsy, but she needs to retest the prior IPO high. I have no position in Etsy, but however, I will inquire into some share ownership in the future. Let's say just relatively neutral. Okay. Bang, 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 bang. Have done a few put sales in the past, which is good. I'm a believer. Just gonna take a little bit. Robert says, Mr. Squiggles nailed that one. Yeah, bro. Julian says, Etsy is an exclusive content Amazon. I haven't tried it. Yeah, it's pretty good. But you are correct. I mean, there's a very specific market on Etsy. Amazon is kind of like you want anything specific, and Etsy's like you want a gift for someone that's kind of handmade, one of a kind, more or less. That's kind of what you're going for on Etsy. Okay, that's what I got. Next on the list, Baidu. BIDU, still struggling, still not in a position on Baidu. But I do like today's candle. So let's see if we can get a Morningstar reversal or something cool to come out of Baidu. I'll put it on the list for Friday. And right now, it's going to keep on moving on. Nothing to see here. Roku, jolly gee whiz. I heard some people made money on Roku again today. And Roku just pulled back strongly. Santosh, you can have this link. This should be the link right here for all the charts that I publish. This is it right here. There you go. So you click that link. You should be able to follow me. And if you follow me, you automatically get any chart that I post. But if you want, you can go there and get that. If you want the exact Etsy post, there you go. Easy day, boss man. Easy day. So Roku. I mean, honestly, we did not get an inside candle today, but so I'll have to wait personally for one more day because it didn't do what I asked it to do specifically for a day trade or for a swing trade. But obviously, you're going to want to watch Roku for a day trade over the next 2-3 days. If you want to day trade Roku tomorrow or swing trade, I should say. Bullish obviously will be the edge. So I'm gonna give it one more day to see what it looks like. I'll probably end up missing it, and that's okay for a swing trade. If it gaps up tomorrow and the trend continues, great. But if we get a little bit of a resting candle, 156.35 by 143.79 could be a possibility in a Roku, and I would just assume to go long rather than short at this point. Trend is strong, and Roku is not slowing down, at least not yet. Well, we've rested the last 2 days. Last 2 days were a rest. We rested, we hung out, we chilled. Robin says, I almost took a call to swing into tomorrow, but didn't due to a number of bull candles. I can respect that. So right now we're down 48 cents. And again, I think we could retest and just pull back and chop around a little bit tomorrow on Roku. All right, SCOR, ComScore. This is the one I'm really just debating over and over, like just should I get in bullish on a breakout or wait for a pullback? I just can't bring myself to go bullish on something with a breakout after a 100% move in 2 weeks. I know it's a cheap stock, so it doesn't specifically matter, but I just have to wait. I don't want to. That FOMO thing, man. The fear of missing out. You got to remind yourself, hey, man, you're missing out on money all the time. Don't worry about it, bro. So ComScore, I do like the trend. I do like the volume. Just up 100%. Got to wait on it a little bit. I really would like a pullback. I mean, 348 would be so much better to buy at that price. Honestly, after earnings, I would have liked to have gotten in. I do think I would have gotten in after earnings with a pullback to like 310 with a stop at 240. I think I could have done that. So ComScore, I'm going to give it some time. I know I'm probably going to be late to the game, but that's all right. Someone once told me the market will be open tomorrow, and I can obviously trade it then or later. ServiceNow. A lot of volume coming on ServiceNow. Tons of white candles in a row, and she just kind of looks like she wants to continue higher, realistically. Most of the volume came in towards the end of the day. So at this particular juncture, I know we played ServiceNow bearish, and that didn't work. If you want to go bullish on ServiceNow, I'd probably just say wait for a little bit of a pullback. Personally, I'm going to wait, just as Robin said, mostly because of the amount of white candles in a row. That doesn't mean that it can't continue higher. It just means that the edge is not extremely great for where I want to get in. Obviously, it should have just flipped this position on the 15th when we got stopped out and just gone long. That would have been ideal. But I wanted to, just never retest the neckline. That's the thing, is you could all see that double bottom, and we just never pulled back to 255.61. So I'm going to wait on ServiceNow personally. The trend does look great. The volume looks great. I'm really kind of skeptical about why there's so much volume right now. So yeah, I would kind of say just look to buy a dip. But the trend is bullish, and this is a great continuation trade. Opportunity or candidate, I should say. IQ. So ticker symbol IQ rested today and didn't do very much at all. So here's what I'm thinking on IQ. I'm thinking I'm going to do an iron condor and a directional. I think that's what we're going to do on IQ. Let me just look at the premium one more time. So it's January. $15,1250 put, and the call would be $22.50, 25. Wow, that's it. Gross. Not much money in that one, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, okay, wait, they're doing it wrong. Sorry. I was like, that doesn't make much. I had to relook at that again. So this is the one that it's buying. So let me just make that 25. This is the one that it's selling. So I'll make that. Okay. That's a little better. A little better. So we could get 30 cents on a $2.50 margin. Which again is not terrible, but that is 2 full months of waiting. Yeah, I like it. Let me just look at the long-term moving averages. All right. 30-cent limit. And on $2.50, I would want to do 10 contracts, $2,500 a margin, $300 profit, right about half an hour if it works out. IQ Iron Condor. Let's see if IQ can trade sideways, aka above 15 and below 2250 between now and January expiration. Neutral is neutral does. IQ Iron Condor. Iron Condor. Bang, bang. Boom, boom. Got it. Drake says, can you put Macy's on the earnings gap in the morning? I thought I had Macy's on today's list. I don't. Is it gapping right now? I can look at the tail end for you. I'm sure it'll be on the list for tomorrow morning. But yeah, I will look at it right before we sign off. Just for you, my good man. All right, 11/20, 2019, IQ short put 15, 12.50, short call 22.50.25. Looking at 30 cents, January 19th, 2019. That might not be the January 19th. What expiration was that? January 17th, even better. Okay, and that is an Iron Condor. And I expect to lose on a option spread at some point. But there we go. We'll see what we got, and I'll just kind of keep an eye on IQ from here. That is pretty much what we have. 2020. Yes, it would. Man, next year is 2020, Bob. What is going on out there? All right, folks, Netflix. This is a swing trade that we did get triggered into today. No idea if it's going to work or not. And if I lose, I'll just kind of laugh and go, wow, I lost both bullish and bearish on Netflix. And I just won't trade it for, I'll try to day trade it maybe, but I won't swing trade it for, I don't know, a month or something. In some shares, we'll see if it goes higher. I don't know if it will, probably not, but I like the moving averages. I like the hourly chart. The trend looks okay. And if the market has a strong bullish move tomorrow, we should be all right. Here's the 105 EMA with the extended hours turned on, and it's about to get above our stop. So sometime in the next 2-3 days, if we can do that, Netflix loves bouncing off that price. We'll get a little bit of a better shot at it. It's also above the 105 on the daily, and the trend looks nice. So yeah, I'm gonna keep Netflix. Hopefully we gap up at some point above 310. That would kind of be best case scenario, I think, on Netflix. Otherwise, we'll just see what it does. We're in it to win it. Hopefully we win on it. HCA climbing. I heard Robin Steckel was in a position on HCA. That's the word on the street. Word on the street is she bought even more on November 15th because she's a boss. So made a little bit of a new high today. Trend looks good. And Robin, high fives all around. Pretty much it. Trend looks nice. All right. HACK. HACK. Cyber Security ETF. This is the one that I've kind of been pumping and dumping recently. And by pumping and dumping, I mean talking about that I think cybersecurity is kind of like a no-brainer long-term trade. And if you want some exposure to cybersecurity going forward, this is probably a decent ETF just to have a position on. I think it's a look at this beautiful bounce off the 100 simple on a weekly chart. That's the buy off the blue line strategy that I teach kids when I go to schools during Kids Month. So good old buy off the blue line, rocking and rolling, and it's out of resistance. So if you're in a bunch of shares, could be a really nice one to sell covered calls on at this price. I mean, it just had a miraculous double bottom, really putting in work, and just a nice trend on HACK. Robin says, I owe you a report on this, making its way up onto the priority list. Well, don't make it too good of a report. Otherwise, you'll probably take Ashley's job, and then she'll get mad at me. You know what I'm saying? So if it's just too good and I fire Ashley and hire you instead, then she'll just be really mad at me. It's going to be making awkward. It'd be an awkward podcast. Cool. Look forward to it. Looking forward to it. HACK, nice ETF. Fun. Starbucks. I don't have anything on Starbucks right now. Although, again, I don't have any position on this one. I do not hate this candle. Mike is giving me a life tip. Mike and Dan are coming to the rescue. Mike says, hint, never fire your wife. It's a good hint. That's a good hint. I'm going to jot that one down. Don't fire the wife. Noted. Oh, I love it. Robin says she doesn't have any position either on Starbucks, but she's watching this one. Yeah, I do like today's candle. And again, Starbucks, usually a long-term buy the dip, be an owner rather than just a consumer. I do really like this inside candle, and this is a nice pullback. So, yeah, if you're looking at starting to build a position on Starbucks, this will be about the time. Maybe start putting in a few Frappuccino worth of a share every 2-3 weeks or something. So Starbucks, nice candle, nice location. Could be a good spot to start adding some positions. The interesting thing is we actually got triggered in on a bearish trade on Southwest Airlines today. So here's what I'm expecting on Southwest. I'm expecting a retest and a move like that. So just hanging out, not much is going on. And we will see. So what we have here on Southwest is a potential double top. Volume did increase. We did get triggered into the December 5750 puts at $1.70. And I know it's going to retest. I expect it to retest. And it doesn't mean that the trade is going to work just because I'm in it. But what I'm kind of anticipating is for Southwest to just kind of pull back a little bit and eventually fill this gap. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I got my fingers crossed on. So what I'm going to do is give it a week or so, let it retest a little bit. We'll look at it tomorrow. We'll look at it some next week. And if it just continues to chill out and do its thing, that's fine. But I would expect Southwest to eventually break lower, and then we can get out of those puts for a profit, and then all should be good. We bought them for $1.70. I would like to sell them for $3.70. That would be selling to close the long puts. So that's what I got on Southwest. So that's a trade that we're in together as a team. Chewy, CHWY. I do have some people who are pretty interested in trading Chewy, and I can see why. I get it. If you got a dog or a fur baby, you might be a fan of Chewy's. This is not the Mexican restaurant. I'll put this over here. So high of this candle, 23.69. 23.67. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it took out the low, this low right there, barely. I feel like earnings is coming around the corner for Chewy's. You know, it happened in mid-September. We should have some more time. Earnings, I mean, that was the only earnings report that's come out, and they're really not doing that bad. So this would be a kind of a quick counter trend trade if you're playing Chewy. Now, again, if you want to be an owner rather than just a consumer, a lot of people are starting to take approaches to that style of investing. That makes sense. Ashley and I don't have any position in Chewy, at least to my knowledge. But if you want, again, just slowly tiptoe into this one. It's not very expensive. Maybe you could buy a share a month, or every time you order something on Chewy, buy a share, something like that. Just to kind of build a position so that 3-4 years down the road, maybe you have 50 or 60. Other than that, this could be a quick, very fast swing trade, and that's all I got on CHWY, at least for now. Urban Outfitters getting smoked. Massive gap down on URBN. A lot of traders with some protective puts up here because the stock went from 20 to 31. That's a 50% increase, ladies and gentlemen, after last earnings. And what goes up must come down. This is a really big sell-off. Stairs up, elevator down on Urban Outfitters. Huge gap on earnings. And realistically, I don't see much reason to be bullish on Urban unless you get a bullish candle that starts immediately tomorrow. You could maybe day trade this one bullish, possibly a really aggressive swing trade. But it would have to start going bullish very fast for me to be excited about it. High wave, bearish candle, not too much excitement. I'd be a little bit on the cautionary tale of shorting it just because, again, it's down a lot over the last 3 days. Bottom line, no real trade for me personally on URBN. Just not the biggest fan presently. Okay. Before we get into these two, I'll put Target, ACB, and Square on my list. Those are the three that I day traded today. Let's go look at Shopify and then Amazon. Shout outs to Corey Jones for getting some R's on Shopify as it bounced very close to the 200-cent moving average. And now you have a really handy-dandy pattern. If we break below here, we're bearish. If we break above here, we're bullish on Shopify. So if we break down, I'd be a little bit more on the bearish side, evening star-esque reversal out of resistance. And if we break higher, then Shopify will continue to do what Shopify has been doing. I did reach out to the chief technology officer of Shopify today for an interview on Twitter, and I have not heard back yet. Probably won't. So, yeah. Again, just my thoughts on Shopify. I like the candle pattern. I like the support. I'd really like it if it just broke down super hard and that's it. Okay, cool deal. Shopify, done and done. Next on the list is Amazon. Shout outs to Tom for playing Amazon bullish today. And here's how he played it. I'll pop over to Slack. Again, team, if you ever play anything, I always love seeing your charts. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You don't know who you're helping out there. Right? That's the thing. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be scared. Just post some. This is artwork. as far as I see it. That's what you're doing, is you're posting artwork because I can learn something from every single chart that gets posted. That's what Slack is for. So this is how Tom played it. He got out for 1R because the gap was not good. Just a general average everyday gap. He played a double bottom, got in bullish, got out for an R. That was it. Boom, boom, boom. Nothing to see here on Amazon. Robinson's on the 3-minute. Yep, that is a 3-minute chart. You are correct. And on a 5-minute chart, this is what it looks like this morning. Pretty much the same thing, right? Gap down, very, very small gap, and then had a nice high wave candle on the 5-minute chart. And you guys all know what we like to do on high wave candles. So nice little pop, and then you got the little sell off, and that was pretty much it. Santosh says, totally agree. The extra bonus value gets more from RLT members. Absolutely. Always good just to see what people do and how they do it. So Amazon, bottom line, is at a really interesting predicament as far as the level is concerned. This is a pretty nice evening star reversal. So if we keep breaking down, I do have the hypothesis that Amazon's going to come to 1662. If we break higher, awesome sauce. We will just see. All right, if we get a little bit of a gap up. But I'm under the impression that Amazon's going to try the evening star reversal, run down to 1662. A bunch of people get stopped out, and then it bounces. But time will tell. Okay, next on the list is Tesla, and you got the truck release and information tomorrow. This very well could be a sell the news, buy the rumor event. So my thought on Tesla is with this really nice looking S-curve. I love a dip buying opportunity on Tesla. As you guys know, I'm bullish on Tesla. I do have bullish positions on Tesla. Pull back to 340. I'd probably pick up a share or two there, and then I'd pick up a share or two at 327. Ultimately, I kind of think that Tesla is in a wave 3, and it's about to wave 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't know what the 4 will look like or how long it'll trade sideways to kind of remotely bullish. I won't be fighting the trend with bear call spreads, at least not yet. If you do have shares and you got some covered calls, great. But I'm just going to wait out Tesla. It's going to be really interesting to see what it does tomorrow. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The 100 simple on the daily chart just crossed the 200 simple, whatever that means. All right. Here's what Bob requested yesterday, ZNGA. And ZNGA is pulling the blue Mr. Squiggles. So I came up with 3 scenarios on ZNGA. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is just what a lot of experience looks like. So I mentioned it was either going to be the pink line, purple line, or the blue line. 2 of the 3 were going higher, but eventually both of them were going to have dips. And we did do the blue line. We broke out, we retested, and we've continued. So if I can kind of zoom in a little bit, you can see that's, exactly the retest, right back to that old resistance, new support. So good stuff on ZNGA. I'll just come in here. Nailed it. Okay, just in case anybody wants to frame, we were talking about art. If anybody has any connections at the Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art, we can throw that in there. Otherwise, ZNGA, again, it looks like it's kind of rotating. The rotation happened. We should be working on the bounce at this point. Here's the daily chart, and earnings are over. I think we're about to pull into the 200 simple moving average and then bounce from there. So strong resistance, some lower highs, definitely a little bit of a gap down. Volume is declining. That tells me that this probably wants to pull back down into the actual 200 before we start bouncing. So ZNGA is going to consolidate for a while, distribute, buy low, sell high, and I think a little bit more of a pullback is going to happen. So if you're looking at a longer term trade, I think that's what you could do. As far as the swing trade is concerned, if you're doing a little bit more of an aggressive one, honestly, a break above 633 is not bad with a stop at 613. That's 20 cents of risk. That would not be terrible. And you could almost flip that too. Stop would be here, entry would be here. So I like this candle. Aggressive entry for the bears. And that's pretty much all I got. Otherwise, let it come down to the 200 and buy some dips there and let it hang out. Got a lot of requests on Uber today, mostly because Uber broke out and had a good pop bullish. This is what Mr. Squiggles wanted back on November 9th, and he's not massively wrong. We did trade up, trade down, and then start to bounce. So Uber, a lot of people are looking at getting in on some pullbacks. John Alonzo, JL, and a few others. I would probably say yeah. UBER, good volume. I know I'm one of the few bulls in the world on Uber, but that's okay. I like the volume. I like the close. And again, if you're swing trading this one, you want to buy a dip, that makes the most sense to me. If you're in long term, it's just going to take time. Uber hasn't been around that long, not even half a year yet. So if you're in bullish, it is a counter trend trade, so you're going to want to be quick in and out. I think there's an opportunity for Uber to fill this gap. However, something like this, fill the gap, and then you could probably sell some 34 or 35 covered calls if that will be a profitable endeavor for you. Most likely a January or February position, and Uber will hang out down here and chop around for a while. Yeah, that's what I got. All right, next on the list is Messes. So it's coming out with earnings tomorrow morning, according to Drake. And again, as I mentioned on Monday, this is a great one to have a collar over earnings. If Macy's gaps down again tomorrow on earnings, it's going to hit single digits. That's what I'm calling for on Macy's. If it gaps up, the only way I would see it to be bullish is it would gap up. It'd have to open above 16.21. But even then, I still think there's a chance that it gaps up and fades on earnings. I could be wrong, obviously. Been wrong many, many times before. But I would watch it very closely at mid-16s. If it gaps into that zone, then yes, might look for a long trade. Otherwise, a gap down on Macy's on this earnings, single digits are around the corner. So you're going to want to have some positions on. Target, ticker symbol TGT. Freebird is looking at Target, and he says, hey, buddy, I hope you had upside trading Target today. I had a trailing stop, but now I want to move it way up because for once I don't want to let it drift all the way down. I really would prefer not to sell in my non-retirement account. Not so concerned in my retirement. Where should I put my stop? Below 118.42 is today's gap. Set close below that. Yes, a stop loss at 117.87 looks reasonable to me. I did try shorting Target today, and I lost on that, obviously. Mostly because it was a retest gap, and it just has a lot of similarities to the last gap. A lot of similarities to 821, in my opinion. Strong gap up, huge move, good retest, and again, tried shorting it. It sold off for like 7 whole minutes and then bounced all day long. Was a beautiful retest gap. It had a fantastic afternoon play right off the 10 EMA on the 15. Ran up 2 whole dollars off the 10 EMA on the 15 and just was gorgeous. So target, yeah, from here I would kind of just expect it to do probably what it did last time. I don't know why it specifically wouldn't. Okay, that's really my thoughts on Target. Here's how I traded it. It's also in Slack, but pretty much shorted it right around open. Here, stop up there, covered some of my position at 119, and then got stopped out of the rest of the position up there for a small loss on Target. So Target pretty much got punched in the knee. Aurora Cannabis, though, this was a really nice day trade. Got out almost at the exact high of the day, so I'm pretty happy about that. Here's the 5-minute chart on Aurora Cannabis, and you guys all know how I played this one. I posted it in Slack like 43 times today. Would have loved to have gotten in down there at 245. I didn't. 245 by 230, I would have loaded the boat. But instead had to get in at 256 on the breakout, only to sell at 267. Not bad. 0.8 Rs on the day. Aurora Cannabis was nice. And, of course, Square. Square was a very, very simple trade again. So it's above the 100 on the daily. It's above the 100 on the hourly. All the moving averages were bullish on the 15-minute chart. And here's the 5-minute chart. And 5-minute chart played it like Charlie Daniels plays the fiddle. Stock closed above the bearish candle here. Boom. And then retested. And that was it. So Square right now is kind of doing what a lot of people thought it might. So this was what I drew yesterday on Square. Bunch of white candles in a row. At this point, I would prefer a pullback on SQ. Just really keep your eyes peeled for Square. If on Friday she closes above the high of this candle, as I've been mentioning, the gap on the earnings will fill. It's just going to take some time. If you have a long enough time horizon on Square, I do think you end up winning on the trade. So if you have long-term calls or shares, I think you should be okay. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what I got for today. That's it. We got a lot of swing trades out there. We'll look at many of them tomorrow. What beautiful stocks would you all like to look at tomorrow? Stocks for today. All right, so here's what we got. We have Pinterest. We have Disney, NVIDIA, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Tesla, Roku, AMD, Boeing, Baba, Ford. What else do I want to look at tomorrow? Agilent Technologies, Kroger, Glue Mobile, AT&T, Match.com, VECO, STAA, FedEx, Johnson & Johnson, KRUS, LUV, Home Depot, Mongo Database, Adobe. Nice. All right, team. Well, you all know where I will be. Thanks so much for tuning in. You are amazing. And until next time, love life, and trade it. Bye.